Now after starting out with the spermatogenesis, let us begin with the another gametogenesis process that occurs in females called oogenesis. As described earlier, oogenesis is a process of ova formation or ovum formation for carrying out the reproduction in females. Such a process occurs in the germinal epithelial cell of the ovary. As discussed during the structure of ovary, germinal epithelial cell is its outermost structure or the structure which envelops the ovary. Here in this region, the process of oogenesis occurs. This is completed or is carried out in mainly three phases. That is, this process gets completed within three phases, namely multiplication phase, growth phase, and third, maturation phase. Let us begin our study with the first, that is multiplication phase. In the first phase, that is multiplication phase of the oogenesis, the germinal cells divide repeatedly to form oogonia. These oogonia multiply by mitotic division, that is by undergoing mitosis. It forms a large number of primary oocytes. It is these primary oocytes which enters into the next phase, that is growth. The second phase, that is growth phase. In this, the size of the primary oocyte that is formed during multiplication phase increases enormously. This increase in size within this phase occurs mainly due to the presence and increasing amount of few substances like the cytoplasm of the primary oocyte gets rich in DNA, RNA, ATP, then enzymes, mitochondria, ribosomes, Golgi complex, and many others whose concentration gradually increases and becomes much more within the cytoplasm of the primary oocyte, due to which the size of the primary oocyte increases. Now, during this phase, along with the cytoplasmic changes, the nuclear changes also occur. That is, the nucleus of the primary oocyte becomes larger. As a result of which the size of the primary oocyte increases. Now when the growth of cytoplasm and nucleus combiningly together gets completed within the primary oocyte, then it enters into the next phase, that is maturation phase. However, the growth phase of oogenesis is comparatively longer than that of the growth phase of spermatogenesis. Then comes the third phase, that is maturation phase. Maturation phase is also known as meiotic division phase. Because here the division takes place with the help of meiosis. The mitosis division takes place only during the first phase, that is multiplication phase. Following in the final maturation phase, the primary oocytes, by undergoing meiosis, develops into haploid cells. This division of meiotic of is completely different from the meiosis that takes place in the spermatogenesis. Here, after the first division, of the primary oocyte, divides meiotically in an unequal manner in such a way that one large-sized haploid secondary oocyte is formed, while other small haploid polar body is formed. Further, this is the secondary oocyte that undergoes further division. Thus, ovulation takes place only at the secondary oocyte, which enters into the oviduct. When sperm penetrates into this secondary oocyte, further meiotic division occurs. This meiotic division is the second time which further divides or creates two unequal sized haploid bodies that produces second polar body and ovum. In the same way, the first polar body that was formed during the first mitotic division or meiotic division undergoes again second meiotic division to produce two second polar bodies. Thus, first polar body after undergoing meiosis forms two polar bodies. However, this is the case only if sperms enter into the secondary oocyte. However, if the sperms do not enter the secondary oocytes, then it simply gets deteriorated that is, itself gets destructed without the completion of meiosis to form ovum. That is, the ovum is not formed. This figure depicts the structure of ovary and ovum. As it can be seen from the figure, this is the structure of a mature ovum which has a cell-like structure possessing polar body, nucleus and outer jelly-like coat within droplets containing. This structure of ovary depicts the process of oogenesis occurring within, where the development of primary follicle along with oocyte forms the primary oocyte, which further after undergoing meiosis forms the secondary oocyte and thereby getting converted into a mature follicle, which after ovulation undergoes fertilization, and if not, then the follicle gets disrupted or ruptured. This figure depicts the process of oogenesis that occurs within the female, where the oogonium, after undergoing mitotic division, forms the oogonia, which after going the growth phase, that is, the increase in the size of oogonia, results into the formation of primary oocyte. This primary oocyte, after undergoing meiotic division, that is, the first phase of meiotic division, forms a larger secondary oocyte and the first polar body, which is small sized. This further undergoes second meiotic division to form the ovum and the second polar body. It is this ovum which takes place